#566 easy banking. Ìpolongo yìí bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́ kìíní oṣù kẹfà ọdún 2023 títí di ọjọ́ kọkànlélọ́gbọ̀n oṣù kẹfà ọdún 2024. Àǹfààní yìí ṣí sílẹ̀ fún oníbàárà tuntun àti títẹ́lẹ̀. Ìgbésẹ̀ àti ìlànà wà o. Zenith Bank, fún àǹfààní ara rẹ.
The word is out. From the glistening beaches to the glamorous city streets. The Real Housewives of Lagos season 2 is here. Your favorites, Chioma, Iyabo, Laura, Mariam, and Toyin, return to bring you even more charm, style, and drama. While Faith and Tanya join Echo's elite and add some extra spice. Subscribe from 1,200 Naira monthly. Sign up now at showmax.com.
Tí 9 Mobile Network Naija gangan bá jẹ́ ayọ̀ rẹ̀, èrè ńlá ń dúró dè ọ́. Nígbàkúgbà tí o bá nílò dátà sí láti wo sinimá tàbí gba oríṣiríṣi àjàbalẹ̀ eré ìdárayá, 9 Mobile wà fún ọ. Pẹ̀lú 1,500 Naira péré, wàá jẹ ìgbádùn 8 GB látọ̀dọ̀ 9 Mobile. O tún lè fi 9.5 GB ṣe ìfàjẹ pẹ̀lú 2,000 Naira péré àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Darapọ̀ mọ́ 9 Mobile lónìí tàbí kí o tẹ *301# láti yan dátà olówó pọ́kú tí ó ṣe gbẹ́kẹ̀lé. 9 Mobile wà níbí fún ọ, wà níbí fún Naija.
Mọ́mì wa, kí ló ń jẹ́ kí tí oníṣokoléètì tẹ́ ẹ kò rí yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀? Ṣé yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ látara mílìkì ni tàbí yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ látara wàrà? Ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ wípé ìdá 20 tàbí jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ mílìkì ló ń bẹ nínú Milo Active Go? Milo, ó kún láti tẹ̀síwájú.
Milo!
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Thank you for staying tuned to the Break It Down Papers Review on your laughter station, 32 FM 94.9. We dive into the analysis. I am DENIKE Ademowago.
And I'm Kenny Durutilu. Joining us for the analysis is Professor Oluwajedokun. Good morning, Prof.
On top of the day, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, Prof, we'll start off with this one, NLC saga, if I'll put it like that. Nigeria Labour Congress has accused the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, of conspiring with the state's Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Badi, to abduct their president, Joe Ajaero, in Owerri, the state capital, yesterday. It's a couple of days to the election in Imo State, and the speculations that Ajaero planned protest is supposed to topple the election, distorting the electoral flow of things and something like that. Do you think that this in any way, according to reports, he's been hospitalized? I saw a picture where it seems like he was battered. Do you think that this is conveying true activism at this time, reminding you of the days of Oshomole when the NLC stood firmly?
Yeah, you remember those days, don't you? Well, he certainly underwent a bout of violence. And you'd be saying that if the NLC president cannot be exempt, cannot be spared from such mindless violence, then who is safe in this country? I think if they had concerns about him, all they needed to do really was to invite him or to pick him up, but they could have done that without necessarily inflicting violence. And yes, they're nervous because there's an election around, but there's civility. And democracy is not anyhow. Democracy also invites civility. And unfortunately, it's demonstrated that there's no civility in some of our public spaces or political spaces, as the case might be. I think if I were the president of NLC today, I would be consulting my lawyers as to how I can sue whoever it is, whether it's the police or whatever they call themselves, for a mindless brutality, so it seems.
All right, let's take a look at this report out of the Premium Times. Tinubu budgets 7 billion naira for renovating president vice official residences in Lagos. The amount was approved by the FEC. That was on Monday. Now, this report goes on to say that the president is embarking on non-essential spending at a time when he's appealed to Nigerians to tighten up their belts following economic hardship and all of that. What's your reaction to this point?
Well, I think there are two aspects to it. The point that you've made, that obviously the government expects us to tighten our belts, and yet the superfluous spending is going on. But it's also the fact that our credit rating, our investor rating, as it were, is beyond junk status, in the sense that we've even been declassified or in terms of the rating. And you would have expected that what we should be doing now is to tighten our belt. In other words, you tighten your belt and then you begin to ask for borrowing. And then we're asking for borrowing. There's a story you brought about that we're asking for, is it 7 billion or something? But we're asking for borrowing, and yet we are not tightening our belts. Yes, some of the spending is non-priority. I'd have thought this were times to actually prioritize spending so that we go in leaner, meaner, and have a fitter economy. So I don't understand the economics of this administration. I thought we would get an improvement. I thought this was more nuanced, more technocratic, and obviously more economic literate with the Cardosos, with the Eduns, And I'm beginning to wonder whether it's just more of the same or worse of the same.
This will be particularly frustrating and concerning for a lot of people, because you're talking about a residence in Lagos for the president and vice president. Why must such large amounts, huge amounts, be spent on residences in Lagos for the president and vice president?
I honestly don't understand, and they should have made up their minds. And this president has palatial residences of his own, you understand, in Lagos. You would say normally it should be the state that should fund it, but we don't have money. So why can't he just stay, you understand, in his residence? And some people say, security. But if you go to Bodilon or where he stays at the moment, that place is, you understand, it's like a fortress. So why not stay there in this tough economic climes? So I really don't go with the, spending more money. People would have suggested why not State House Marina, but that's been handed over to Lagos State government as some sort of museum or so, and nothing is happening there. But we need to find cheaper alternatives. We don't have the money. And if we don't have the money, it means, going back to the drawing board and cutting out some non-essential expenditure.
All right, still speaking of money and a lot of, would I say, a lot of issues in the papers this morning. The House of Representatives has resolved to probe the expenditure by the Nigerian Population Commission from the 800 billion naira approved by the federal government for the conduct of the 2023 population and housing census. And this was equal to the adoption of a motion moved by a lawmaker and on. Would we say that we did not see this coming at the twilight of the administration, the end of the administration? They approved a certain sum of money for census. They said that some ad hoc people had started training people. Some said and all of that. And now we're at a place where we're now probing what happened to that money. What does it speak to as a nation and the past administration? And what is this in the entirety of it?
Well, let's be very clear that this is just a resolution and a proposal, and of course nothing may happen. But of course we predicted that many of these expenditure didn't make any sense on the twilight of the administration. I think it points to the fact that in this country we sometimes do things, you understand, that are nonsensical, do not benefit the people, and just don't make sense. You're going and you're spending that large, enormous amount of money. And Jonathan begins to look like a saint. Why? Because Jonathan was once asked, as he was leaving, that was during this P&ID case, to approve a huge sum of money, you understand, to settle the case. And he simply refused. He said, no, he meditated on it. I can't do it. That's for the next administration. And that's what Buhari should have done. All these humongous amounts. Once you have 1 year to go, you really should be looking to the future, because you're tying the hands of the present administration. But I think, more importantly, what did they do with that money? They said it went on salaries, they said it went on logistics, and yet we had no census. So where did most of that money go to? Can it be justified? They said they had a pilot census exercise. No pilot in my area. Probably there was in your area. But we need to know what that money was used for. And if people have embezzled or maladministration, they need to be called to order.
Now, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, yesterday appeared before the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriations to defend 18 billion naira contained in the proposed supplementary budget. Now, he said the 18 billion naira is not entirely for the conduct of 3 upcoming off-season governorship elections, but rather majority of that money is going to be spent for personnel cost. About 10.6 billion for the 40% increment of the peculiar allowance recently announced by the federal government. Now, he said the commission has 16,614 staff, and some of the things that cause that particular request is the increase in the price of PMS. Court pronouncements mean that the commission has lots of by-elections to handle. Your reaction to this particular development, Prof?
First and foremost, the part of the reason why they are spending so much money is part of the lack of competence of INEC. Because if they are doing so many by-elections, you understand, it's as a result of the fact that 94% of these elections were challenged in tribunal. So it's a reflection of INEC itself. But more importantly, I agree with the chairman of INEC that it has to do with increased personnel cost. And of course, elections, democracy is not cheap. That's why some people ask the question. We have democracy, it's not cheap, and sometimes we don't see the results. You know, in other words, you spend this amount of money, and they are not guaranteed to have a smooth election. But let's hope that this money this time will encourage INEC to do better. So it's not just about paying the salaries, but also assuring us that they will do better than the previous elections, because we spend this amount of money, we invest so much in these elections, so that the will of the people will come to pass. But not just because of that, because we believe democracy is the route towards the development of the country or the nation.
Can anything be done to looking into the cost of operation of INEC going forward? What can they
organize better elections? If elections are properly well organized, free and fair, and if the technology works, then there'll be less by-elections to conduct. And if there are less by-elections to conduct, then this increased allowance, there are some allowances they have, you understand, they wouldn't need to pay them. But when you have out-of-season elections, it costs a lot of money, because you still use almost the same number of policemen in those states than you would otherwise have used during the general election, at least for the number of states mentioned.
All right, the EFCC seems to have had a bad rap in the news for some weeks now, from the incident at the Forestry College in Ibadan last week to reportedly performing a night sting operation in Ife earlier this week and rounding up over 60 young men suspected to be internet fraudsters. Now, the executive chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has directed that sting operations at night be stopped in all the commands of the EFCC. Do you think that this will be adhered to by, the people of the commission, and as well as would they find more effective ways to get the job done? They printed or they published the names of those suspected people. Was that supposed to be the case in this situation?
First and foremost, I don't think they have any choice. I think the chairman has done the civil thing, the right thing. We are not a lawless country. We are not Gestapo, all these night raids and so on, going with balaclavas and all that kind of thing. It's marks of, of kind of dictatorship of some, to some extent. So I think that's the right thing. As to publishing the names, I'm not sure. These people are not even guilty. And you're publishing their name all over the place. I think, you understand, they should desist from publishing people's name, especially when, you understand, they're still going through a court process. More importantly, the faces of people should not be shown. You only show the faces of people after they've been convicted, not before conviction, because they may well need to identify. Identification may be a key to the prosecution. And when you display their pictures all over the place, or people see them on the internet, you understand, that may prejudice any prosecution. So, chairman, give him kudos. EFCC, they should comply, and let's get some order, and let's begin to behave like a democratic government or civilian-led government.
Now, this report out of the Punch says the Senate confirms 3 APC loyalists, 4 others as INEC recs. The new recs, of course, were appointed by Mr. President last week. At least 3 of them, according to reports, are loyalists of the APC. Is there a cause for alarm in this particular development? What do you think of this?
Well, I'm very concerned, because INEC is supposed to be non-partisan. You're not supposed to be employing politicians. You understand? You're supposed to be employing people and men of integrity. I'm not saying that APC members are not men of integrity, but what I'm trying to say is that elections need to be seen to be free and fair. You understand, by appearance. And when people have doubt as to elections, you understand, then of course it's questions about our democracy. So yes, I think that was a no-no by Mr. President. And the Senate did wrong by not scrutinizing. They should have scrutinized to see whether people are partisan. But more importantly, I've argued here that the president should not have the power to appoint those officials. It should be by the Council of States, where you have non-partisan members, rather than Mr. President. Because at the end of the day, Mr. President is going to favor himself. He's a human being, after all.
All right, let's take a look at a story from Benue State. It says here, the headline says, Benue to destroy 100 million naira expired drugs in abandoned hospital. And according to this, the Benue State government will destroy drugs worth over 100 million naira on Friday at the Muhammad Buhari Mother and Child Hospital. The 120-bed hospital was completed and inaugurated on March 17, 2020. 22. And destroying drugs reportedly worth 100 million naira is a lot. But beyond the destruction, it is important to also ask why they were not dispensed before the drugs got expired. Is it a situation of were they hoarding them? Were they expired all along, and dispensing them would have been a bad idea from the start? We have IDPs in places like Benue, and we have people, would I say, I don't want to use the word, would I say allegedly not dispensing drugs that should until probably they expired. What's your reaction to this story?
Well, we don't know what the nature of the drugs are, whether it's just Panadol, drugs that can be given over the counter. But I think it's an unfortunate indictment. These are situations where people are dying, because they can't get the drugs, you understand, or they can't afford them. And yet we're having drugs being destroyed because they've expired. And it might even well be that some of these drugs were actually donated or through donor money. But whatever way that it got there, it's a needless and mindless waste of expenditure. And I think that somebody needs to be called to account. It's not just to destroy them, but to ask the questions why, to exploit and to ensure that people are punished and are made accountable. Because at the end of the day, this is money down the drains, literally, really, money down the drains, and then they have to review the protocols. What are the protocols in place? Because if a drug is going to expire and it's going to be thrown down the drains and the person can't get the drugs, is it not better to prescribe it, you understand? So at least somebody has the drugs, from that point of view. So the expiry, it has to do with procurement. Did they procure drugs that were near the expiry date? What exactly went on? They need to exploit. There needs to be some kind of inquiry to get to the bottom of this.
All right, Prof, let's have you speak on this one. Crude shortage delays Dangote refinery. 5 others take off. Now, the failure to supply crude oil to domestic refineries has stalled the production of refined petroleum products at various facilities. Now, operators of the modular refineries said yesterday that international oil companies preferred to export the commodity to earn in dollars, of course, to the detriment of domestic refineries. So what's your take on this one, especially with, the scarcity, that seems to be in the offing right now?
Yes, that explanation makes sense. So you have this crude oil, coming from wherever they come from the various places like Excavors or whatever, you understand, and then you bring them to our refineries here. And I think the understanding is that, of course, when they are refined there, you get your money and you're paid in the naira. If that is the case, then of course people want dollars, because dollar is a more stable currency. And if you get paid in dollars because you export or whatever you do with it, you understand, you then have the ability to do more. Whereas with your naira, the rate at least stopped depreciating. It started appreciating, but was depreciating very quickly. So I can understand why many people are reticent to do any transactions in naira. But I think there's a more fundamental issue there. We're not producing enough crude oil. We have the capacity, but we're simply not producing. And we're not simply producing enough because of sabotage, because of what people going on in the creeks. And so we're not even reaching our quota. And part of the problem Nigeria faces is that because we can't reach our quota, our ambitions for revenue are limited and are restricted. Therefore, what are we trying to do? In fact, we are now mortgaging future receipts in order that we can get dollars so that we can stabilize our currency. And those future receipts, we are mortgaging 5 years worth of proceeds, from crude oil. So it's really a mess, and it's within this context, and I go back to it, that we continue to spend like a drunken sailor, and you would have expected that we would have cut our quota accordingly.
All right, we have to go on a commercial break now. When we return, we'll open the phone lines to take your reactions. Just stay here.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
Omo, you're always on your phone. You don't even have time for your guys anymore. Where you they see this data?
Sorry, bro. It's Ayoba.
Ayoba? Which babe is that one again?
Ayoba is not a babe. It's the all-in-one app that lets you chat and call friends, listen to music, play games, get trendy gist, and many more. All on the app. No need for multiple apps. Just use Ayoba and enjoy.
Yo, tell me more.
Yes! With Ayoba, you can play, work, have fun, share files, and many more. And that's not all. MTN subscribers get 700 MB weekly to enjoy all these on Ayoba. So, what are you waiting for? Download Ayoba now on Play Store or App Store to get started.
Guy, this Ayoba is better than you said, oh.
MTN, what are we doing today?
Please listen to this special announcement. OIEG Schools and AHZ, a top UK university representative, are hosting a personalized open day in Ibadan. If you wish to study in the UK, then this open day is for you. Come engage in conversations with professionals, gaining first-hand knowledge about studying in the UK. OIEG schools are Bangor University, University of Bradford, Edinburgh Napier University, University of Greenwich, and the Montfort United. Also University of Roehampton, BPP University, and Ravensbourne. Date 16th November 2023. Time 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Venue 21B, West 1 Office Suite, opposite Environmental Tax Force Office, Secretariat, Agodi Road, Ibadan. For more information about the fair, please call +234 81 44 91 59 54 or +234 81 58 93 93 37 or visit info.ibadan@ahzassociates.co.uk.
The word is out. From the glistening beaches to the glamorous city streets. The Real Housewives of Lagos Season 2 is here. Your favorites, Chioma, Iyabo, Laura, Mariam, and Toyin, return to bring you even more charm, style, and drama. While Faith and Tanya join Eko's elite and add some extra spice. Subscribe from 1,200 Naira monthly. Sign up now at showmax.com.
My son has a football match at school today, but looks tired already. Wearing his boots slowly, like someone turned down our playback speed. But with Golden Penny Choco, he eventually comes alive. Now Junior is back on his feet to take on his day. Cause I make breakfast time, Choco time.
Golden Penny Choco for everyday energy.
tí nine mobile network naija gangan bá jẹ́ ayọ̀ rẹ̀ èrè ńlá ń dúró dè ọ́ nígbàkúgbà tí o bá nílò dátà sí láti wo sinimá tàbí gba oríṣiríṣi àjàbalẹ̀ eré ìdárayá nine mobile wà fún ọ pẹ̀lú 1,500 naira péré wàá jẹ ìgbádùn 8 gigabyte látọ̀dọ̀ nine mobile o tún lè fi 9.5 gigabyte ṣe ìfàjẹ pẹ̀lú 2,000 naira péré àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ darapọ̀ mọ́ nine mobile lónìí tàbí kí o tẹ star 301 hash láti yan dátà olówó pọ́kú tí o ṣe gbẹ́kẹ̀lé nine mobile wà níbí fún ọ wà níbí fún Naija.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
All right, great to have you back with us, 32 FM 94.9. We're opening the phone lines now. Let's have your reactions to the headlines. You can call us 0705 5000 949 0809 7000 949.
Hello, good morning.
I'm John Uzo. Thank you, Professor George Edoku. Let me say, there's no need to give a dog a bad name in order to hang it. I won't do that. Adiro was arrested by government security agents and did not abduction. So the word abduction should not come in. And you should be able to know the difference between someone either legally or somehow arrested by security. No security agent. He was not abducted, but is presently under arrest. Note that someone is actually supervising the arrest. He may even be charged to court. He has enemies here and there because of critical position on the face of the nation. I'm John Uzo. Thank you.
All right, 0705 5000 949 and 0809 7000 949. We're also live on Facebook, 32FM 949 Ibadan. Kindly like and share the video. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ingamari, calling from Apata.
All right.
On a lighter mood, I want to ask the professor, how does the drunken sailor drink? Good morning, doctor. Well, on the issue of the money that they want to borrow, I think Buhari borrowed a lot of money, and up to now, I can't even tell when we are going to pay the money back. And people now again want to go on borrowing spree. I think that's very too bad. And on the issue of Ajaro that was being arrested yesterday, I think this is democracy. People have rights to protest. Let them free this man. And yesterday I saw him; he was being blown on the high. This is abnormality. And lastly, on the issue of OE students that are being apprehended yesterday. Let the EFCC go after kidnappers. Let them go after terrorists. Let them leave these students alone. This is barbaric. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is John Olariwaju calling from Ado. On issue of Ajaero, I think the NSC needs to learn very well that, look, when these politicians were doing wrong, they need to talk and they need to come out and they need to stop them. Until when things are getting wrong and worse, they will now come in and say they were protesting. We said this, that even when the lawmakers brought this huge amount of vehicles, we did not even hear anything from NSC. Now, when they are not talking about their salaries, they will now come in and say they were protesting. I think this will be the lesson for them. As far as I'm not saying what the governor did is very, it's right, it's very wrong. That's what the step. And therefore, the Mr. President and federal government say they want to borrow the money. You are borrowing the money and you are using it for yourself. You are spending huge amount of money for presidential and the vice president launch in Lagos. Even we had that out of this loan that you want to borrow, you want to buy yard that worth of 5.5 billion naira. And you are saying you cannot pay the subsidy that will benefit many Nigerians. And from Nigeria, we say they were doing fine when the subsidy. Which kind of country is, what kind of leaders are?
All right.
Thank you and good morning.
All right, thank you very much. You wanted to react to.
I think there's a
what he
speculation yacht that they want to get a yacht. It's all over the news, but I hope it's not true because it simply doesn't make any sense. You know, not why we're borrowing at this level historically.
Right.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. No?
Good morning.
Yeah. Marufu is calling from Oyo.
All right, please make your point.
Yeah, I want to comment on the electoral officials cleared by the National Assembly, the cleared by the National Assembly. At least the people in the National Assembly are also supposed to know the normal thing to be done. Why is it that people in the society will be correcting them? They are there to serve as a guide. They're supposed to know what is normal for them to be done. So these are not the people to be cleared. Why is it that the politicians will be cleared? Why is it that the people that are submitted to them by the president will be a rubber stamp for them to clear? So they are there to serve as check and balance. They check the executive, they check the legislature will be checking the executive, and they will be checking the legislature. Why are they doing rubber stamp? So that's my comment,
All right, thank you very much.
I think the rubber stamping has been going on for quite a while, and that's some of the flaw of our democracy, that our senators and House of Reps are not really questioning critically some of the proposals or appointments brought before them.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, my name is Akile Balabi from Akashebo. I just want to comment on the warning to the political appointee that is President Babangida said, President Bola Tinubu, that any underperforming among them will be through the warehouse. They should know that the party time is over. It's not time to settle down for business. The mandate or the target for their ministry, departments and agencies to be achieved to transcend into the dividend of democracy for the masses. Secondly, on the issue on the amount they spend this political appointee, the amount is too much. The amount they want to spend on renovating presidential judge at the Barrage, presidential fleet, all these things are too much. They are just spending money like a Father Christmas. This is not good when many people are getting abject property penury. It's not good, yo. And then we say we are in democracy. Have a nice day.
All right.
All right, thank you very much. Prof, on the situation of the yacht, apparently, though, before he came into power or something like that, there were speculations about he has so much money, he doesn't need the money. And now they say he wants to buy a yacht. Could he not personally afford it by himself if it were the case?
Well, no, of course he can afford it if he wants to. And I don't know where the yacht came from. I don't know which office. I don't know what mind, is suggesting it. A yacht, even in the United Kingdom, you understand, even America, you understand, none of the countries, maybe in Russia, I don't know, but it doesn't make any sense. So, yes, I think if he needs a yacht, he can afford it, and he should buy it himself. But not on our dime, not on our naira, not when things are going awry, left, right, and center. So I want to believe it's a rumor, you understand, even though it's all over the place. And I want to believe that somebody just smuggled it in, and Mr. President would act astutely and quickly and expound it from the proposals.
All right, some reactions on Facebook. Irinde Dawotola says INEC had consistently improved since Fedeco days of 1979. They've done far better in administration using technology. It is we Nigerians that just want to build our Rome in one day. We're never patient in our endeavor, and the politicians are ever ready to work against all better structures INEC dreams of. I say well done, INEC. Okedun Rambatunde says PBAT administration is also towing the part of Buhari Dean. Keep borrowing to fund appointments while masses are suffering. Common palliatives and salary awards can go round, but SUVs can go round. Few selected individuals contributing nothing to the economy. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Olufemi from Oyo.
Okay, let's hear you.
Where people are telling us to keep on patient, to have patience. That was what they were saying from Buhari's regime to the end. Now, you now see that there is no difference from these people in government. If we should keep on having patience, somebody that is saying there is no money, see the amount of money approved for the purchase of the SUV for the senators or whatever. It's now going back to homegrown feeding that Buhari governments use to enrich their cronies. The students of children were under their parents, and you said you are feeding them with billions. Again, now it's now going back again to approve it, and say 150 million Nigerian children will benefit from it. Until when we now have that patient, this also shows that from the beginning now, this government has nothing to offer Nigeria than poverty again. May God help us. That is energy supposed to make people to go out. Second, and SARS will begin from.
Okay. Tolokwademi says, good morning. It's quite unfortunate that NLC chairman George Iro can be brutalized to the extent of rushing him to the state hospital in Imo State when the organized labor hasn't done anything except for demanding for their rights. This is out of place, but anyways, what are we not going to see under the APC government in this country? Mariam Etune says, good morning. I want to believe that Nigerians have not really benefited anything good under this Tinubu-led administration since his emergence, considering of all the promises he made during campaign. It's a pity that so many amount has been borrowed without tangible development to show for it. I doubt if truly we should believe in his renewed hope agenda.
Hello, good morning.
Please turn down the volume on your radio.
Hello, how are you? Joseph is my name.
All right, you have 30 seconds.
This is the issue of Ajero. You know, Imo State is a volatile place. And this is an election is coming. Ajero is seen because it aligned with tendency. And Ajero is seen as an opposition. That is not the right time to go and protest. You know, the place is a volatile place. And it has aligned with an opposition. And NSC is a strong party in that place. I think that is the problem. Thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you very much. It's time for us to go. Prof, any final words as we leave?
No, I just hope that we'll get to a stage where we can, spend the money, government's money, in the way that we'll spend our money. And I hope this government will return us to that era of common sense.
All right. Thank you very much, dear listener, for staying tuned. Thank you, Professor Olojedoku. My name is DENIKE Adimowago.
I'm Kenny Duritilu. Good morning.